So once I've got my sphere, I'm taking my thumb now, and I've got the ball cupped nicely in my non-dominant hand. This is my dominant hand, finding a point with my thumb where I'm going to start just twisting and making an initial plunge that's going to be my opening for my pot. Okay? So I'm just rotating, twisting, straight down. Straight down. My thumb is going straight in. I'll show you that from this angle so you can see a little bit better. But I'm going in. I'm not with my thumb like this. Straight in. Straight as my thumb can go. And I'm just twisting, pushing down. I get into this knuckle. I'm going to straighten my thumb and keep going till not till I hit the bottom, but I want to be close. And if I can get my nice hitchhiker thumb going right here, looks like some kind of crazy mushroom, I don't know. That's what I want. I want it to be able to stay on my thumb. If it's flopping off, I've gone out too far, we're going to have some problems, and I'll show you how to correct those a little bit later, but you don't want to start out having those kind of issues. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do this kind of like a duck whack whack kind of thing. And I'm going to be squeezing and rotating the clay. Squeezing, rotating the clay. It's going to be compressing ever so slightly as I'm rotating. And I'll just continue to go around and around and around and around, and then I'll lift up a little bit. For those of you who've done this on the wheel, this will be very familiar to you, okay? So, and I don't want to open this space up yet, if at all possible. It's going to open a little bit, but I don't want it to really open. I want to concentrate on this and not this happening. It's all about my thumb on the inside, pressing, rotate, press, rotate. I'll show you from here. Press, rotate. So I'm starting to form the floor of this vessel, the lowermost point. And the critical thing I really want to do is press this together, eventually creating an even wall. Now typically on a pot, the thinnest point will be at the top of your vessel. The thickest point will be at the bottom, which is right here. And for anyone doing this, it takes a while to get this right. And as I'm squeezing, the clay has to go somewhere. So you can see it's starting to take on a shape already. It's moving up. And I'm looking right here. This is a little troubling to me. I don't want cracks in my pot, so I'm going to just real quickly smooth that out, take care of that. Because I don't want that opening up. If I were to not take care of that, it would open up and create a big crack and a hole in the pot, which I don't really want. Some people might, and that's fine, but I don't want that right now. So keep in mind too that as you thin this clay out, it's going to be more prone to drying. So the thicker spots are going to take a longer time to dry. And ideally you want to have this vessel fairly uniform in thickness. It's not going to be possible because we're just doing this all by hand. But you don't want too much variation. The more variation, the more prone it is to weird things happening. Okay? But you can see this is really changing shape. Really changing shape here. I've got another ball, and I'll bring that up. And you can see this is the same size ball. We're starting to elongate and make a vessel. It's kind of thinning in this direction and squeezing up this way. So when you're working at home, this is one of those things you can just do. I mean, you can be sitting in your lawn chair holding this little lump of clay in your lap. You can see I've opened up a little bit here, but not too much. You can turn this on its side and work it this way. Have fun, play around. Now we're really getting into a basic pot form here. The inside of this is really smooth. Feels really nice. I can kind of just take my fingers and gauge. Well, it's pretty thick. So I'm going to try going down. But once you've gone up, there's only so far you can go down because you've only got this much space to work. So again, starting with a small amount of clay with this pinching process is the best way to start. And if you really want to get that clay to move up, you can kind of pull up with your fingers as you're compressing. And just make sure you got your thumb on the other side of those fingers, and it's really these 3 fingers that make contact. This 4th one is kind of incidental. And make contact with the clay that's between all the fingers, that is to say. So you can challenge yourself in many ways with this very simple form. You can say, well, I'm going to take roughly the same size amount of clay and see how tall of a vessel I can get. You can see how thin you can stretch the clay. There's a lot of ways you can improve your building skills with this very, very simple form. This is the most likely, as far as I know, the first way anyone built anything relatively functional with clay. I shouldn't say that, but with their hands, without any molds. So you can see this is very up and down. It's not much of a pot or bowl shape. It's more like a vase. And it's critical to maintain that verticality. All right. So I'm trying to make this pot thinner and taller. And so I'm squeezing, pushing together. Squeezing, pushing together. Squeezing, pushing together, and rotating in between each squeeze and push.